Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Around the Piano. And we're here with Cappuccino, and we've got a terrific guest today, President and CEO of NAMM,
Wow.
the National Association of Music Merchants. John, we're pleased and so happy and honored to have you as a guest with us today. Thank you and welcome aboard.
It's a big honor.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm honored too. I am very excited about this conversation. Thank you for having me. And I have lots of ideas. Did you know I minored in piano in college? Did you know this? I was a trumpet player first and foremost, and but I really loved. I never really thought about piano except kind of like banging on like grandma's piano that was in the house, so just like tootling around. My sister took lessons. I never did, but in college, like I breezed through. Like you take like so many semesters of piano.
Yeah.
So I finished the 2 semesters in 1 semester, and I don't know, my brain's just like, because like scales, anything logical, I was like, I could do this. I love the patterns. It was like therapeutic. So I like got through, and they're like, well, you have to do 3 semesters of piano, but you finished 3 semesters in 2 semesters. I'm like, well, I'll just do private lessons. And I just kept going. It was always fun. I got to could play Chopin etudes, but I would never call myself a piano player, except when I started gigging later as trumpet. Turns out that not every song needs trumpeting. I don't know why. I think every song should need trumpeting. But apparently, you only really play like the chorus or a couple horn breaks. And what they don't tell you as a gigging trumpet player is you have to stand around holding your trumpet in all the dead time that you don't need trumpeting. And I can't dance. And so all of a sudden, I found myself on stage, standing there, what do I do when I'm not trumpeting in this top 40 wedding band, party band? So a lot of tunes had synth parts. So I ended up saying, you know what? I know how to do keys. So I got myself a little Korg M3 workstation, and I started playing synth parts on all the other areas of the tunes and adding stuff. And then I got really excited and figured out how to play all the brass fills on my left hand and played the lead trumpet on my right hand, so I could time them together and play the horns like a brass section. So
you bet.
I'm actually a gigging pianist.
Wow.
Accidentally, I'm a trumpet player.
It makes yourself more valuable in that band too.
Yeah, it was actually fun. And I spent hours and hours on weekends building sounds. This is before you can go online and just buy sounds or have AI create them for you. But I would layer and do all the different wave types and try to get all the I remember Rock With You was a fun one because you had the string section, but you had that wah, 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 that little sound.
Sure.
I'm trying to get the right waveform, the right sound effect, and build it all, in the layers. That was a super geeky, fun synthesizer stuff at one time in my life.
That's very cool. I'm surprised that they have not, at the group Prince, which has appeared at the NAMM show more than any other band ever, has not gotten you up on the stage with them at some point.
Yeah.
They keep asking, but I keep avoiding it. But that was another one. Yeah. 1999, I had the keyboard with the pads. And so then I figured out instead of having to play all the big chords, because sometimes it was hard, I just pre-programmed them in the 8 pads, and I had, banks for songs. But you play in 1999, you just bum 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 bum. So end up I still had the same problems. I had to look cool on stage, I was really doing something when I was really just pressing 2 pads. I have a lot of student loan debt just for this. I can't believe this much cost me to press these 2 buttons. I studied musical theory level 5. I could write a Neapolitan 6-chord transition at one point in my life, but now I'm sitting here pressing 2 buttons for $350 a night. What does my life come to?
Life of a musician.
Well, yeah.
The life of a musician, right?
That's right.
That's why I love this industry, and I love the passion everyone has, because we've been there. We've played those gigs. Everyone knows it's fun and great when you're loading out the 30th floor in the freight elevator at 2:30 a.m. We all know that life, and it's just you do it for the love of music. With all of it, you get on stage, you see happy people. It's an incredible journey.
It really is. And everybody that we work with in this industry shares that passion, because otherwise they wouldn't be here, and it makes all the difference in the world. You think music is such a big part of the entire world, but our industry actually is not all that big. There's just it's a smaller group of people than you would think on it. But
that's a good point. It really is. It's small but mighty, though, because everything, that's how I describe it, but everything that makes sound has to come from somewhere.
That's right. And it's not necessarily just the musicians that are on the stage too. It's everybody who's behind the scenes. We've got a producer behind the scenes here that works in music as well.
Yeah.
And it's people who plug in the equipment and make the equipment. It's an entire industry that has to come together to make it all work. It's true.
Yeah. And speaking of shameless plugs, careers.namm.org is a great place to see all those jobs and
Yes.
everything that goes behind in the industry and all the opportunity in our great industry.
Absolutely.
And if you'd like to get there a little faster, that QR code up in that left corner there, that'll take you right there.
Excellent. Yeah. In fact, we had Mr. Eric Abel on a couple of times this past year, specifically talking about the careers in music.
Eric's done such a good job of taking that program and just expanding it. We're very proud of that. And, because I think everyone knows this, but for those, maybe the one listener who might not know this, NAMM's is a nonprofit association, and our ultimate goal is to grow and strengthen this industry. And a lot of that is, creating more music makers, advocating for musical programs, and also growing our workforce. And the careers in music thing is a big piece, just to let the next generation know that music is an industry. It's not a hobby. It's an industry. And quite frankly, it can be a very high-tech industry. It can be a very passionate industry. It's very fulfilling. So there's plenty of jobs. We are hiring. Come work in music. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now, John, you stepped into the leadership of NAMM at a very pivotal time for the music industry. What would you say was your first priority when you stepped into this? This is a couple years ago now, and how that's progressing, how your vision for NAMM is moving forward.
Yeah, well, you're right. It was 32 months ago, but who's counting? It was right in the middle, of our industry's pandemic recovery. I think for our industry too, and a lot of industries, just because we weren't wearing masks and standing 6 feet apart, didn't mean that the effects of years of disruption were not still felt. And in a lot of ways, our industry felt it through 23 and into 24 with some inventory rebalancing, particularly around, keyboards and ukuleles and all the things that boomed during COVID. But I think for me, stepping in at this time, and it wasn't even just for me. It was NAMM. It was the board. It was a pivotal time for us as an organization to just think about, what do we look like post-COVID? And that's what a lot of organizations, associations, businesses had to ask themselves the same question. And, one thing we realized very quickly is like most everything else, COVID didn't create as many problems as it just exposed that were already there. And it forced us to evolve fast. It forced us to realize, it forced the whole world to realize, push the boundaries of what can be done online versus what should be done online. But we realized how much, can be done online. And then I think we've now found we as an industry, and I think we as a society have found a better balance of what should be done online. And, so at that time, it was listen, learn, and move fast to get NAMM and the industry kind of restabilized. And quite frankly, for them to understand, like, hey, we got this. We've done this before. We've done this through wars. We've done this through depressions. We've done this through, economic issues many times. We've done this through terror attacks. We've done this through recessions, and we can do this through pandemics. And I think that was a big piece too. So it was getting a lot of buy-in for the industry, asking the industry what they want and what they want out of not only the trade show, but out of NAMM. And so here we are again, 32 months and 8 days later, but who's counting, that, we feel really good about, how our industry is working together, how our industry is cooperating, how they're looking to NAMM, and how NAMM is providing the leadership our industry wants. I think a good example of that is this summer. It was a little terrifying maybe for many, many months, and it still is in a lot of ways. But what we saw over the past, 6 or 8 months with tariffs and uncertainty there, it felt like, here we go again. It's pandemic all over again. You know that game of red light, green light that we like to play
yeah.
with container shipments? Red light, green light, red light, green light. Yeah, it's not as fun when it's containers or products. It's
Right.
a little more fun in elementary school when you're running around the field. But but it was a little pandemic, like, oh, here we go again. But what I saw is, first of all, I'm so proud of the NAMM staff, best people in the world. Sorry, I'm biased, but it's my opinion and I'm a right to it. Best people in the world. This team immediately was able to pivot events, provide economic data, policy information, tariff working groups. Like, we were able to support our industry, speak out, lobby in DC with our members. I mean, so many things we were able to do. But also watching our industry's reaction to it, because we pick up the phone and just talk to all the companies. Our industry reaction was like, all right, we're going to get through this together. And even though it's been kind of a struggle, it's been a challenging year for most companies in the industry, especially the manufacturing side. The big push is like, we're going to come to the NAMM show in January. We're going to get together. We're going to reset. We're excited to be together. We're excited to work together for a prosperous 2026. And that's how I know that what we're doing is working. Like, that's how I know the past 32 months have been worth it, because we were tested recently. And I think by every measurement, we passed the test. NAMM delivered, our industry came to us, our industry worked together, and we all got through something, rather well considering all the circumstances.
Well, and I love that fact, because I know that the yearly fly-in to Washington is very important, because NAMM is there, NAMM members are there. I know the NAMM board members are there. Volunteers are there, and they're talking to our congressmen and our senators, and they're keeping our industry in the forefront so that we don't fall behind, and that they do take this seriously. And it's so important for music education, because without the music education being a forefront in our schools, and with the way everybody thinks about it, it can fall by the wayside. So many kids can fall between the cracks, and there's no need for that, because we've got so many wonderful music educators, and they just need some of the tools that NAMM provides, and then the support that the NAMM can provide to them. It's just a matter of a lot of times getting that word out, and things like the fly into Washington do exactly that. And again, it's NAMM is known for thinking big, and I would ask you, what is one big objective that you see for this coming NAMM show, which is the 125th anniversary of NAMM show? So it's a real big show.
Yep.
So what do you see as the big motivator at this year's trade show for everybody?
I'm so happy you asked the question. So, 125 years is quite a milestone. What we're going to do at the show to demonstrate this, and I think what NAMM shows have had in the past that have made them all very successful is, we all come together for some greater cause. And this year we're talking about 125 years. Why have we been here for 125 years? Because we're an industry that deeply cares about growing our industry.
Yes.
The other industries are not, necessarily, they don't have to grow their market. Like, the auto industry doesn't have to make more drivers. They need to drive. They're out there, so, but we have to create more music makers, and we have to go out there and cultivate that. So even though we're competing, there's always this common bond. And so we're going to celebrate 125 years, not by, patting NAMM on the back for 125 years, but celebrating an industry that has been around for 125 years, because we always come to the table and focus on creating more music makers, giving back. So you'll see the story threaded through the NAMM show in many different ways. You'll already see during registration, we're highlighting NAMM Foundation. Would you like to make a donation in honor of 125 years? We're launching a NAMM Gives Back campaign that you'll see around the NAMM show, reminding people that, yes, we're here to trade show, though I'd say it's the NAMM show. It's not a trade show. It's an experience like none other in the world. But yes, we're here together. There's, exhibitors and carpet and education sessions and networking, but we're here for something bigger. We're here to ensure that, the next 125 years is successful. We're here because people 120 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 25 years ago kept this thing going, and now it's our obligation to keep it going for another 125 years.
Absolutely. Well, so many of us and many in the music industry who attend the NAMM show every year, it feels like the Super Bowl of music. So give people a little idea from your perspective what goes into the behind the scenes building of a NAMM show. It's I think you start from day one of the end of the NAMM show to start working on the next one.
NAMM show typically is about 18 months cycle. We're well into 27. I mean, we're well into NAMM show 27. And just because of the size and complexity. But, we also, there's a lot of, we have to work with many, many partners that need more long-term planning. So we have contracts out through 2030. So we're in a lot of ways, we're 5 years out as far as thinking of longer models. As far as all the logistics that go into any particular show, we're always, 18 months ahead. So we're already thinking about 27, which is really important because while we're at 26, we're evaluating at the NAMM show in 26 what we want to do for 27. We're always thinking about how to improve. And then once we get to 27, we'll be working on ideas for 28. And again, that's just part of like that as musicians, that drive to like always get better. Like there is no perfection doesn't exist, but we're still going to strive for it. Even though we know we're never going to get it, we're still going to go. And that's that musician mentality that like drives us as, NAMM show organizers too. So it's a long process. And again, there's so many partners that are involved. And so the planning and coordination and organization that all those partners need is really far out. But as, a product creator, we build an experience. We built a platform for 1,850 plus exhibitors and 4,500 brands to use to make their brand successful. So we're building a platform for people to use to make their product successful. So having like long dialogue and really good dialogue with our companies about how they want to use the platform, getting feedback about what they want to try, being willing to experiment and test is really important to us. We're always experimenting. So yeah, it's not just like turn around after, February 1, we start the next one. We're already well into ideas for 27 and beyond.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And listen, I'm a radio personality and a founder of the studio here. So I don't know much about music. I'm not a musician. But I want to give you a 360 high level view as a business owner of my third year going now in January and a lifelong relationship going into NAMM. Absolutely impressive. Absolutely love it. And let me tell you what I really love the most about it. The relationship building of helping others. And you guys seem to have that model down pat. And it's authentic. It's not forced. It's not phony. You guys are the real deal. I love the fact, and you make it look flawless and easy. And I know it's not, right? And I, this time of year, and I'm sure that, and Tim mentioned, well, you could be up there with Prince playing on the stage. I'm sure you're pretty busy, especially during that time, which we would love to see you on stage and play too, just the same. But going in just as an amateur for my third year, it's so well done. And you guys are resource specialists. There's a resource for education. There's a resource for instruments, and even inventors. I think we ran into a gentleman, Mr. Wish,
Dave Wish.
Yeah. And what a fantastic character. He had the hat, looked like Willy Wonka.
Yep.
We got to interview him. It was great. I absolutely love what you guys are doing. And I'm excited for the next 125 years. I probably won't be alive then. However, you guys keep it moving, because if it wasn't for your organization, things can fall apart pretty easy in a rough world. And the fact that you guys even helped during the fires, in the time of the fires, you just find the need and you go at it. I absolutely love that.
I thank you for saying all those nice words. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate, that genuine passion and enthusiasm. Again, that's what I love about NAMM in our industry. There's not a lot of industries where the name of the association is interchangeable with the industry itself. Like some people say, "Oh, NAMM, what is NAMM?" Oh, it's our industry. It's all music products. I think that's because we really want to be that heart. And you're you're realizing after your third year, you're realizing a little secret here that I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. There's a secret to tell everyone. We're not in the music products industry. It's actually the music people industry. And that's what you realize when you come to the NAMM show. When you realize that it's about the people, and that's what drives us. We focus on the people. We focus on the audience. We focus on the experience they have. That is a lot of what we focus on internally, because when you have the right people, the best people in the right place, magic happens.
Absolutely.
That's why we call ourselves NAMMily. That started a long time ago, but it's true. It's very true. And as someone who's been to over 30 NAMM shows now, between my wife and I and my son and daughter, we go back to the last show that they did in Chicago. That's how long ago we've been attending these shows. But what I love is the fact that not only of the progressive thinking forward and what are we going to do next to improve our industry, it's preserving our music history. NAMM goes back. It originally started as basically a piano show in the very early days. It is. And there's a gentleman named Dan Delfiantino who has definitely preserved so much of that history. I know now he's done over 6,000 interviews with people from all over the music industry. And every time I hear of someone passing an icon or somebody in the industry that has passed, that we knew and ran into at trade shows, there is a video that somebody has interviewed, usually Dan or his wife Suzanne, and it's there for forever. He's preserved that legacy of the music industry. And one of my favorite things now is volunteering and helping Dan out at these trade shows, helping him to preserve even more of that history. I just think it's so important. And
that's great.
I'm so glad that NAMM has continued to do that.
I think it's one of the most important things we do. In fact, people ask me sometimes what's like the most meaningful or what's your favorite event at NAMM show. And for me, it's the tribute. It's the industry tribute on Thursday afternoon, because, we've been here for 125 years because people before us made really good decisions for the right reasons. And we have to carry that legacy forward. I mean, there's a reason that I'd literally have like the past two folks above my desk every day. Like I think about that legacy all the time. And I think about like carrying the baton forward as we go. Like it's something that's really meaningful. And, as an association, like what Dan Dell does, I mean, NAMM has a full-time historian. I mean, it is a job that we will always preserve because it's our job to tell the history of the industry. And if not NAMM, then who? And so Dan's the best. It's not only the history program, but we have all the music trades magazines since 1890 in our archives. We have physical archives of a lot of history. And maybe one day they'll end up online as some sort of like awesome digitized database. I don't know when that would be, but we'll see.
That would be fantastic. And speaking in this light, the NAMM's Museum of Music Making, which is in Carlsbad, whenever anybody gets a chance and they're out that way, they should definitely get by and see. We've never actually been there. We keep planning on going there, but we always run short of time when we're at the show, or the museum's not open usually during the NAMM show anyway. But that's
the volunteers are working NAMM.
Yeah, there's enough going. But I think that's important. If you're in the music industry, if you get anywhere near California, you should make a pilgrimage to that Museum of Music Making.
Absolutely.
It's I think it shows a lot about our industry right there, the history of it.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, for any NAMM member, or if you're in the area, if you're in Southern California, like stop by our office. We want to see you. We want to sit down with you. We want to show you the museum. We want to show our offices. I mean, again, we're an association. Like this is you as a NAMM member's building. Like this is we have this to serve you. So we want to welcome you and have this conversations. We love it when NAMM members stop by.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to do that. We're going to make a special trip to California one of these years.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime.
We'll bring the coffee and the donuts.
We will. Well, you'll bring the donuts. I'll bring the coffee.
I'll bring the sunshine.
There you go.
We'll need that. We're from the Midwest, so yes, we need a lot of that, please.
Another thing I wanted to touch on with you, John, while we've got you here, we're talking an emphasis on careers in music right now. And I know there's going to be a lot of sessions talking about that. And I know Eric is kind of leading the charge with some of those things. But with music careers changing so rapidly, how do you feel organizations can help students and young musicians see music as a viable profession?
Yeah, I'll be the first to say, and I just, and this is personal to me, this is my path. I have a music degree first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a music education, master's in performance. I later did degree in education, others, but like as a musician, the skills that I use every single day: practice, focus, prepare, perform, get along with people, cultivate, the phrase together. Doesn't matter. We could all differ opinions on how something should be phrased or played or whatever. But the important thing is we all come together and do it the same way, so the audience hears a really good performance. Like, there are things you learn by being a musician that are transferable skills that, first of all, I truly make you better human beings, but also make you better leaders. And that's why, our industry, you do have to adapt. And our industry has adapted a lot because the way people listen to music, the technology involved, the way people create music, of course, AI is the big hot topic now. That's all, changing the way people create and listen to and find music and discover music. But it's not the first time that that's been disrupted. But our adaptability, our resiliency comes from what we learn as musicians. And so back to the Careers in Music Initiative, one of the most important messages that we really want to get out is be a musician, study, be the best didgeridoo player ever. Strive to be the best at your instrument and work with people. That what you learn through that process and what you gain from doing that will absolutely help you be successful anywhere in our industry. You can learn 10 years down the road to do marketing. You can learn product. You can learn, all these other skills. Skills can be learned, but like what we do as musicians, like resiliency and those type of like really important attributes to who you are as a human, that's what makes you successful in your industry. That's what you feel when you come to the NAMM show and you see all of these types of people around. So if anyone asks, should my student study music, I'm always a yes. Like, I'm not even thinking I'm not even breathing or blinking before I answer that question. It is yes. And what are they going to do in 5 years? Anything they want.
There you go.
Anything they want. Careers.nam will show you 500 options, but that plus anything else that might exist in 5 years that doesn't exist today.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. If you follow your passion and never let anybody tell you can't do it.
That's right.
That's a big thing. So what excites you the most about the next generation of music makers?
The next generation of music makers. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be definitely a more high-tech generation. They're going to push the boundaries of what technology can do. And there's an interesting, I'll get really philosophical for a second. AI and technology and like creating music in new ways and discovering music in new ways. Technology has always lowered the bar to like accessibility of discovering and making music. And, it used to be, you can just drag and drop a loop. Geez, that's taking the art out of making music. Now you can just dial up in an app and have AI write the whole thing for you. And 20 years ago, we thought drag and drop loops were going to be the end of it all, So, but what I'm excited about as technology makes kind of the automatable faster and easier, it opens up humans to create more. And so I'm really interested in like how we're using new technologies to create music and learn music, how it allows us to then do what only humans can do, which is to be creative and to push the boundaries, because humans will do that. And so if we look at these new technology as a tool, the next generation, someone will figure out how to use all of this and be able to create something that was never before possible, because now we have the tools that either make that thing possible or alleviate us of other tasks and responsibility by automating those. So now we can use more of our brain power to do something that's never before possible. I don't know it, but when I see it, I'll be like, that's the thing I was talking about.
Yep. Yep. I love that answer. I love the fact, there's a lot of people are fearful. They don't know what's coming around the corner. My father was a printer, steel press printer, and then computers came about. He's like, this thing will never last, these computers. He didn't want to learn it, so he retired. I think that it's a mindset, no matter how you look at it. It's a tool. You're 100% right. There's always a talent portion that you still need the talent for. But if you can make it farther now by utilizing the tool accordingly into your favor, why wouldn't you? And the adaptability of that. My question for you, John, is more on a outside in a personal fashion. If you had to talk to 18-year-old you, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh man, I think about that all the time. Oh my gosh. One of the interesting challenges, especially when you're learning a lot, and I just love to learn. Like I'm like a tinkerer. Like I'll pick up things all the time. Like I just that thrill of learning something new is fun. So I mean, a lot of people like the industry. So I would love to go back to my 18-year-old self, and I'd say, think of everything you think you know now. I'm telling you, as 42-year-old John, you don't know anything. Don't think for a second that you know anything. The only thing you know is every decision you're making right now, you will be more equipped to make it better in 5 years.
That's right.
And you have to live with that every day. And then every day and every decision I make today, I know I'll be able to make it better in 5 years, but I'm also a product of every decision I made 5 years ago.
Correct.
And that's that constant balance you have to realize. And so, what I tell my 18-year-old self is that keep learning, ask questions. And most importantly, when advice you're given doesn't make sense, don't dismiss it.
That's
Save
right.
it. Save it, because it actually is really good advice, but you don't, as 18-year-old John, have the lived experience yet for that advice to latch onto. Sometimes advice is like a virus. It needs a host to hold on to thrive and learn. And like you hear something, well, that's dumb. No, it's not. You just don't understand it yet. Put it in the bank somewhere, because one day you're going to have an experience and say, oh, I don't know what to do. What do I do? Ooh, let me go through my advice bank. That's what that meant. I got it. I have that advice. Hold on to advice, because like advice after experience makes sense. Advice before experience may not make sense, but if you save it, when you get to an unfamiliar experience, you have a bank of advice, and then you can handle the experience better. That would be my what I'd love to tell my younger self.
That's a great answer.
That's excellent advice.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking to 50-year-old cappuccino over here, and I'm taking that, and I'm going to run with it. That's great advice. Usually when I ask that question, they're like, they'll just tell them to shut up and listen, or something, right? Yeah. But that was probably the best answer I've ever heard.
Good.
Ask that question. Great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious. Do you remember your first NAMM show that you ever attended?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It was 2013, and quick history. Trumpet player, music teacher, got my first industry job. I got really into technology. I was really into like music technology. And actually I was the one teaching kids to like drag loops and create music when it was like the new thing that was going to kill music making, and then we create all these awesome music technology programs, et cetera. So I was hired by PreSonus Audio to build an education division essentially, and like educate more teachers really on like how to use these tools, because we were going to get, people know how to create music and use tools, are going to buy products. So I started January 1, 2013. They said, book a flight to LA and go into the NAMM show. And I said, what's a NAMM show? I had no idea. So I flew, I get on this plane, and I'll never forget, I get a round trip, I guess, a ticket from a direct flight from New Orleans to LAX. And I drive down to New Orleans, get on a plane, and I'm like, I'm going to a NAMM show my company's sending me. I wonder what it's going to be like. No idea. So I look in the front of the plane. This kind of shorter guy gets on in first class, and he had a trombone case and a trumpet case. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Is that trombone shorty? Oh, I wonder where he's going. And then this really old guy with this really long beard, like a cane, with an assistant, gets seated at the end in first class, and was like, is that Dr. John? where are all these New Orleans famous musicians going? There must be something going on in LA. So I didn't know they're all going to the NAMM show. Who was I to know? So I get there and I walk in my first NAMM show, and I was overwhelmed with the size, but I was also overwhelmed that I had lived education. I had gigged, I had performed, I'd taught music, all the instruments. I had gigged, I had the inner monitors, I did sound, I could set up lights. And so like I'd like touched all these parts of the industry and played all these genres of music, from orchestra to pop bands and everything in between. And I didn't even know this existed. Like I was really mad at myself. I'm like, I never actually thought of where this instrument came from. Like, Mommy, where's trumpets come from? Like, I don't know. Like, never asked the question, right? But suddenly I'm like, there's a whole industry behind all these products. And I was just amazed. And at that moment, I'm like, I can't believe that me, as an educator, 2 music degrees, and no one's ever told me that this industry exists. Like, how should I be allowed to have a music, like, how should I be allowed to educate children and talk to parents about their musical journey, having not known this existed? Like, first of all, that was a travesty. So I was like, I'm going to connect education and the industry, if I like it or not. Now, I didn't know it was going to lead me to this job, but that was literally that first second of the NAMM show. And I got really fired up about that. And then I thought there was this major disconnect. Then I start walking around the NAMM show, and I realize I look in every booth and I see people demoing products to just tons of folks listening and learning. And I was like, you know what? I was wrong 10 seconds ago. There's not a disconnect between education and industry. This industry is all about education. That's all that's happening here, is we're educating people in the booths. And then I start looking through the show app and I find the session about like advocacy. I'm like, oh, I like to advocate. And then I realized the whole thing was all going to a foundation to create more music makers. I'm like, okay, well, now you're just messing with me. Like, this can't be real. So I'll never forget, like, when I first discovered NAMM and how overwhelmingly amazing it was, but also at the time, how like I felt like it was so amazing that I actually felt I was cheated. Like, I wanted to go back and stop paying my student loans because I didn't think I got the education I paid for. I didn't know it existed. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, it's the best eye candy for musicians that exists. It really is. What has been your favorite concert at NAMM?
Favorite concert at NAMM?
Yeah,
it's interesting. Oh yeah, I'd love to hear yours. Honestly, and I'll admit this, like, I actually get to see some of the concerts now in this role. When I was attending NAMM as an employee of a company, I was hustling. It was meetings. It was 2 breakfast meetings before 9 a.m., 3 dinners. Like, you're going. I mean, your meeting schedule was just too many people to meet with. So I remember, like, I heard there was music in NAMM, but I was always bombarded with meetings. Now I get to actually sit around and see the concerts. It's great.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Elton John.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was 2003, somewhere around that. They did a tribute. In fact, they did it over at the arena where the basketball team plays, I believe, or the hockey team. And they had Elton John, and they had all these not tribute artists, but artists paying tribute to Elton John.
Yeah.
So they all came on and sang one Elton John song, and then Elton John does a 45 minute
That's
set.
awesome.
So that's got to be favorite. But there's a lot of them. I enjoyed the Lindsey Sterling concert a couple of years ago, which was amazing.
Well, and too, every hotel, every spot you can look in, there's music being played.
Yep.
I don't think I can say that I've seen one that I didn't like.
No,
that's the whole thing. This gives a platform for people that want that. They want the ROI. They want the ripples on impact. That's what I call ROI, by the way, John. Ripples on impact. If you splash that pond, those ripples go out, then you see the tide come back, right? When there's a new artist out there, they want to get on that stage. This is how they gain awareness. You have so many people walking around there, so many people listening to different things. There's not really one genre of music I don't like. So when I'm looking and I'm bouncing a hotel to big stage, I'm listening and seeing nothing but awesomeness because it's all talent. And they're all really good. I've come across some people. Listen, I got a cousin. He thinks he can sing. Okay, it's one of those.
We all got one of those cousins that thinks,
hey,
right?
You're pretty good because they don't want to hurt his feelings. You don't have any of those on the stage. Let's put it that way. You have really good talent and they're up and coming. And this is how you get noticed. When we met Thomas Claxton and his band, fantastic. What a great group. Some old schoolers in there, man, that I used to listen to growing up. As well as some of these new bands between saxophone, fusion between different genres. One kid did the smallest trumpet in the world, but it was his mouth and it sounded just like a trumpet. It was amazing, and that was at the Hilton, I want to say, but it was amazing.
It was at the Hilton, yeah.
I don't think there's so we could talk about favorites, but I don't think there's one that I could truly say that I didn't like.
I love too, because they're the people that perform, these are essentially like live product showcases, and these performances are people that want to play for the industry. It's not like the NAMM show it's not a music festival, but wow, there are hundreds and hundreds of bands that play the NAMM show, but they're playing for their industry. It's like, I want to play for my friends, so they're putting everything they have into it because they're playing for their colleagues and their friends.
Which is awesome. That creates a big mutual, right? And so there's a benefit for them. There's a benefit for the industry. And once again, it's a platform that you're pushing out as a resource. So everything's music. It's the first time I've seen the largest drum circle in the world that I could possibly I've ever been at. Just an amazing setup that you guys do there.
Well, what's amazing too is every one of those bands at NAMM that are playing there, big stage, little stage, any of the hotel stages, every one of them is a very important to everything that's going on inside that convention center, because that's where all of their equipment comes from, all of their information and their education has come from. It comes out of all of that. And then at the end of the trade show, we all go to our homes and our own parts all over the world, and we're still doing the same thing.
Well, so real quick, I've been to a lot of different events, if it's Comic-Con, if it's, different styles of conventions. This is the only convention I have ever been to where it's 100% based on love. I have never seen anybody get angry. Everybody's very awesome with each other. It's just such a great feeling there. The energy's great. The music's great. Everybody seems to care about everybody around themselves. I not one fight have I ever seen. You go to a concert and those will break out, right? You go to NAMM and it's everybody's a brother or a sister, and everybody treats each other with respect. And that's one of the coolest things I've ever experienced.
It's the heart of our industry. I mean, again, we're all competitors until we realize that, like, just helping each other, we all need each other. I think it's one of the greatest things. I think that's why, we're one of the longest. I think we're the longest running national industry trade show in the country. And so it's because of music. It's because we're there to lift each other up, but also, and especially this year, you'll see it is like, we're here to create more music makers. Like, we all win when more people create music.
Absolutely.
And music is, and I think at this time and everything that's going on in the world, like, it's also a good time to realize that, like, music is not political. Music is not divisive. Like, creating music together is something we can celebrate and everyone can get behind. And I think we all should.
Yeah, the two things in life that I know bring people together. One of them's food. The other one's music. And it seems to you when you break bread at the table with somebody and then you can share a talent with somebody, and there's usually music involved, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, is also the best food trucks in the world are at the NAMM show.
Oh, yeah. I've
bringing a lot of food trucks.
Them again this year. I'll give you my rating there, John. Don't worry about it. Which is also pretty cool. You bring up the fact that, we all might be competitors. Realistically, listen, this is company 13 for me, but I can tell you, I don't believe in competitors. I just believe in partnerships that haven't happened yet. and realistically, you guys are putting that platform together to where, yeah, you guys, there might be people selling the same stuff or doing the same kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, that's just a relationship waiting to be built. That's all it really is.
I love you actually want to steal that. Partnerships waiting to happen. It's interesting from a business standpoint. We are in the business of creating a platform to help competitors, compete with each other. If you just take out the exhibit side, what's always interesting is, we're talking to companies every day who's asking, how can they get better placement, better sponsorship, better than all their other competitors. And so, one of the things that I'm just really, again, best people in the world, I'm biased, but it's true, is that, we always have to maintain that fairness and make sure that every company, and this is what NAMM has done so successfully for decades and decades and decades, every company who's getting something from NAMM, it knows that NAMM's doing the same for their competitors, but trusts NAMM, understands that we have everyone's best interest involved. It's the big we that we're all focused on. And that is I think that's really the heart of like those relationships that you just mentioned. That's the heart, I think, of what makes it really successful. Yeah.
100%, 100%. And there's not one pinging against the other, or, and you're doing a hell of a job. And I'm looking forward to seeing you this year. He was the breakfast from last year, right?
Oh, John will be at a NAMM breakfast probably 2 or 3
Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll see you there. Great breakfast, by the way.
Yeah.
Just coming from the heavyset guy from Chicago, I'm going to tell you, I know my food, if you can't tell. Listen, we appreciate your time. We know you're a busy man. This has been great. Do you have anything else you want to wrap up?
I've got one last question for you, and I promised I would ask this question. This comes from a good friend of ours, and you know her very well, I'm sure. A lady named Suzanne Del Fiorentino.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready? It's the first thought that comes to your mind. What is your favorite cheese?
The most important question. Yes.
My favorite cheese.
Cheese, yeah. Suzanne wants to know.
I'm a blue cheese person. I'm gonna give me a big hunk of blue cheese on my steak all day long.
Oh, nice. There you go. Perfect.
I like that.
All right.
I do that on my burgers as well.
So when we get out, we'll have one steak.
Black and blue. I can't turn down a black and blue. My guy. Find me a food truck that has that. I'll meet you there.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, John, thank you for being with us, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today. Hopefully we can sit down and maybe do this in person at the show if there's time on Wednesday. We'll wait to hear from you on that. But seriously, thank you. Thank you for all you do. John Mlynczak here from the NAMM, president and CEO. He's doing a great job there. And we're looking forward to the 125th anniversary of the NAMM show in just a few weeks.
Fantastic.
See you there.
Take care, John.